All right. What's up, guys? Hope you guys had a good weekend. Um, I am really tired, not gonna lie. So if I'm a little slow, if I'm taking a little extra time, don't mind me. This is gonna be a full breakdown video. So like in the past, I'll kind of already have the setups planned out. And then I'll just run through them with you guys on video, but I'm kind of just gonna go through it a little more raw. I have to dissect all the sectors. I'm gonna look through the whole 10-300 screener, look at what's, got relative strength against the indexes, and then come back to my other watch lists and look over those. So, it's going to be a longer video, but I will say I'm going to put everything, everything that kind of I add to my setup list throughout the video. I'm going to put and say again at the end. So you probably could skip to like the last 15 minutes of the video and you're going to catch everything, but I'm gonna pull it all out there, so that you guys can see my process, see what I look at, how I do things. But just so if the video is an hour, you got the last 15 minutes to wrap up everything, catch everything. But yeah, first, let's just take a look at what I put in the Discord. So let's just touch up on this. Okay, so we have our earnings season is starting. Keep that in mind. Throughout all of July, pretty much, you're gonna have all of big tech earnings, everything, nearly everything. So just keep that in mind. Could be good opportunities, could be bad opportunities, but we'll find out. A lot of banks on Tuesday. Not really interested. I'll watch all of these, but just seeing. ASML, very interested in. Let's see. Wednesday. Not going to trade ASML, but just again, like, these just play to my AI theme. If their earnings are good, it kind of trickles down the AI stack, so you have to watch them. GE, I'd like to look at. ISRG is a nice one. Netflix is cool. UNH is cool. Okay, nothing crazy. So Wednesday I'll really pay attention to. Obviously I'll look at all these earnings, but really want to watch ASML. Let's see. CPI Tuesday, okay. PPI Wednesday. Jobless claims Thursday. Okay. Let's see if these move the markets. Just know that they're there pre-market, in terms of swinging things. We haven't really seen too big of, reactions off of them, but know they're there. So we got something Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. All right. Chilling there. So ASML Wednesday. ASML Wednesday. I'm just jotting it down for my brain. EPS Wednesday. And we got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Bigger economic data that has potential to, move the market a little bit pre-market. So we know it's there. Okay. All right. So I did get this new platform, Market Surge, Market Pulse, sorry. So this is really just to help me pull out the relative strength names, against what I already look at every week on my watch list. But even Deep View in the past, they were wrong, in terms of what stocks they were putting in certain industries and groups. It made no sense really. So I've looked through Market Pulse. For the most part, this looks phenomenal, in terms of, the names being in the right industry. I don't care about the UI as much as I care about the information being correct. So, that's really all I'm looking for. So, I'm just going to add this to my weekly breakdown, look through all the relative strength names, and yeah, just go from there in terms of, what to add to my breakdown list. I don't really care about biotech. That's tight. Let's just see if there's anything involved in that. And we're going to chart all these up on TradingView after. Okay, I've been looking at this one. Really good base. Really good base. And you're going to get a move lower on this, just pre-market, everything's gapping down, so it should give structure a little more. A-Lab, you got a little head and shoulders forming. Interesting. Sheesh. AMD writing down. That looks tight. We'll see if we can get an entry with levels. Just trying to look at like the top 10, 15 here. Like all of these look really strong. No. Mm-mm. No, now we're getting a little weaker. Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh. I don't want to look through all of these, but It's also my first time with this platform, so I got a little like, I'm a little excited, I guess. This is cool. I wish you could just spacebar this, but this is not bad at all. CRDO. That's tight, but it's not structured. Did I miss any of these? ASX. No. No. This is a really long base. And I know PI. But nothing there. Really good base. Laser is 10300. I'll mark it down, but I think that's on 10300 list already. Boom. The video was a really good trade. Wish I caught more of it, but that was a really good trade. Shit hasn't moved for months. Caught it on that first day. SK nothing. All right. Let's just look at like the top 10 here. That's absurd strength. Not really interested in software names though. I love pay. Oh man. One day they'll set up for a nice long-term entry. Not there yet. This has an interesting setup. Probably not going to move much. Four looks good, but doesn't move much. All right. One more. So what are they putting in here? Perfect. Perfect. Dave is phenomenal. Dave has been absolutely phenomenal since that cup and handle breakout. I knew it, but I only traded it day one. So it's unfortunate. Phenomenal move. Could keep an eye on it, but unfortunately this was that pivot. I remember this day. Remember I was in options. Fucking liquidated me down. I almost sold. Ugh. Wow. This is cool too. You could just take a quick wow. Okay. Income's not this isn't extraordinary, but this is an interesting one. I just want to do a little more research on it. And this is what you get, you know, from a breakdown too. Like I'm breaking down, but if like there's other companies that catch my eye, like I'm making a side list and saying, you know, like read up on them. You know, I'm always trying to improve long-term positions, or you know, seeing where my money goes to next, things like that. So you know, breaking down takes it could take a little longer if that's, you know, if you're not just focused on the setups for the next day instead of kind of just setting up your week and then, you know, possibly setting up your year or your month, your 3 years, whatever. Like, you know, don't just look at day trades, but you could look at everything. Keeps your mind fresh too. All right, I'm not going to get too involved in that. I'm not going to get too involved in anything else, honestly. Let's go back to this 1 month. Let's take a quick peek at these just to see if there's any sort of, I'm not too inclined to trade these. The run was great. Well, I don't mind missing it though. I mean, they're great runs. Cool trades. No, not for me. Look through those. I think we're good. Quick peek it down. Nice gap down in S&DK. WDC I love. I'm gonna add this, that decreasing volume on an aggressive downtrend like that. I mean, you can't, well, you don't consider it aggressive because of that volume, which is the good part. You know that there's no real, I mean, yeah, you had that one volume pop Sure, but there's no real conviction on that way down, in my opinion. It's a nice increase here, but if it gets that flush down, volume pops, sure, but a little unlikely. We'll see though. I'm just gonna add it to the watch list, see if we get any level off that. Show me a better chart than a net. Oh my god. This is phenomenal. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? This is where I'm really debating putting my money after MU. The second I get filled on calls. I can decrease everything. I'm decreasing the equity being used. I'm decreasing risk to memory. I'll add it to my Roth like I've been wanting to do. It's just switching that equity into a more, I want to say, sustainable layer. No matter how sustainable I think memory is, but memory ideally is way more cyclical than the network that the memory is being run on and stuff like that. You need a net's framework and connectivity to be able to run this data, transfer it, anything. Obviously, you need other players to transfer it as well, but and that's the back end. Adding that to the watch list. Okay. Okay. This is interesting because when you have this first push here, I'm gonna chart up levels. Look, like for example, right here, I'm assuming there was no level in between, and it kind of did the same thing here. So it's just little stuff like that. If something has gone from one price to another price really quickly once, it could do it again. It's just an interesting trade. It's the level set up. Just jot this one down. Okay. I think we're good. I don't want too many here. Too many. Because I'm still going to fly through the other charts. No. 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 All right. I think we're good. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go anywhere else. Never mind. Phenomenal. Huh. Okay. I'm gonna do that one as well. All right. All right. Now we go here. We're good off market pulse, but like there's group ETFs. You can group them by whatever you want. I'm not really going to focus on these, but there's screeners on here. I have a CanSlim screener set up, and their CanSlim screener is a little different. It just focuses on sales rather than EPS, which is interesting because sales do come first. So if you're really looking for leaders now, this is an interesting list because where is it? They have ASTS on here, which is phenomenal. This is like a true CanSlim list, in my opinion. Anything you see on here and just looking at the names, absolutely phenomenal names that are aggressively growing their sales right now and maybe just haven't turned over the EPS yet, which is the exact story with like ASTS, even AMD, things like that. CrowdStrike, similar story, all those high PE names, but these are really, really good names for CanSlim. So I really like this list and how they do it, but not going to add anything. That's more of long term. Anyways, let's chart this up. Let's just run through this 10300 list. See if we have any structure here. Wow, not even gonna add that. That was a new one. Vodafone will mark up, but this is a slow mover as well. My yellow lines are 10300. I'm not going to tag the open and close here because they're really, really close together. So all you really want to do is make sure you tag the higher level, in my opinion, because you want to take breakouts. So if you take the higher level, you almost know you have, two forms of support underneath you, rather than just the one. Anyways, let's keep looking. Okay, decent pop there. That's a tough entry though. You get a possibility for an entry on a 10300 play here if it backtests 1519. I would take shares, honestly. And then you can either use, you could use 10300 next level as the trigger. What was that? The open from 10300 to 1487 from 1519. That's really not that bad, but you know your risk to the next level, so you could size for that. Um, Maybe not the greatest stock, but you really never know with 10300. You never know. Really good stop at the pivot. This one might set up. If this one can give me another day or two and start basing in this top half, that 44 becomes a little better. This you just wait for the back test. Let it do its thing. If you get it. Same thing. Let it do its thing. This is an interesting one. This is a optoelectronics. So if this one can get going, or at least, you know, get another theme behind it, it's reminds me of AOI type of thing. So we'll see. In terms of how it could move, maybe. This one's a little choppier, honestly. Volume's dying. I doubt it's gonna give a setup. I'm gonna leave it for now though. Nothing. Wait for the back test. Man, this is basing. We tried CLPT here. I think I held it too long, honestly. Over eight again, we just see how it bases, but I have nothing until it's back over 1871. Maybe even a back test when it gets over, because you figure it got over here, tried to hold the next day, couldn't. Closed basically under it both days, tried to open above, failed. So that 1871's a pivot. Big pivot. Laser you watch. Laser you absolutely watch. I'm gonna write this down, and I'll also send these in the weekly watch list. So if you miss the end of the video, if you miss anything, charts will be there. So laser, I'll be probably looking for that 74-71 pivot, honestly, for first entries. If you're telling me you get a base there, okay, maybe I'll add a little bit. If you get the 76-43 break, okay, maybe I add a little bit and I'll make 74-71. Maybe my stops on all. But I'm probably gonna give this a shot off 74-71. And then if it fails, so be it. But ideally it gets over, gives me a back test, maybe even test 76 and then give me the back test, but I need it over 74-71 for sure. But this is a great name. Great name in terms of theme it's in, great name in terms of EPS projection, just a name that wants to go up, a name that can go up. So I'm gonna watch it. Penguin had 10-300. This thing's been phenomenal. I don't really know. I just didn't. Again, you assume stuff moves a certain way. It's usually just going to do the complete opposite. So always understand that. Yeah, let's just see how this one acts. I'm not, you know, if this breaks over 80, it's worth a shot. Like Monday. You probably have to go lighter just because the aggressive entry, but you have a really large profit range. You figure if this gets going over 80, it's going to want to go back to that 90. So worth a shot, but over 80 Monday doesn't give you too much information. It just shows you it's strong. It wants to go up. It didn't hold on these high volume levels quick if it goes up Monday. So yeah, maybe I try it. Maybe if it gets over, you get the back test off. It, you know, again, I can't have. I'll have an idea of an entry before, you know, I actually enter something, but it's always going to be in the moment in terms of, you know, I can't look at this right now and say, oh, I'm going to size this much. I could, but you know, if it aggressively breaks through my level tomorrow and I miss my fill by $1, am I going to size the same? You know, things like that. So timing is everything. So have an idea of the setup you want, but I wouldn't say figure out your risk until the actual moment, until you know what you're comfortable with. Um, but yeah, that's how I approach it. So a lot of people want to go in and just, okay, this is my sizing, this is my stop, done. It's not a bad approach, you know, but risk is always changing every second. This is making a really, wow, you know, I really don't mind this here. I really don't mind this here. Over 43.55, I might just give it a shot. It's gonna be over the 9. It's gonna be over 2 high volumes from 10-300 day, and it's gonna be over the 21. And it would have tested and held the 21 if it gets over and starts moving. It's not a bad swing. 48, 50 calls 2-3 weeks out, and then just use 42.50 or even, you know, 21 MA as your pivot for stop, depending on depending on how much you're up or down, you know, when it hits there. Again, that's stuff you figure out kind of like in the moment. You want to have an idea of where your exits are. You know, like say I wanted to get out at 42.50 and I'm down like 15% on my options. That's not enough for me to be like, okay, this trade is done. Maybe I move it to the 21. If it breaks there, all right, I was down like 30%. This is, you know, it's a bigger loss, but it's more comfortable. And if you're giving yourself 15% downside on options, like you guys know how options move, so it's a little silly. So just, you know, that frame of mind in the moment type of stuff. I don't mind this one either. Give me the back test. I've been waiting for it. If it back tests and holds, it's worth an entry. So you got frog, QURE, laser, QURE, frog, right now. Shit, can just stop working. Just grab a different pen. Okay. QURE and frog. Okay. Weaker. Could play a sweep, but you got other stuff. And nothing there. Okay. Let's do this. So we already looked at SPX and QQQ. There's no reason to get bearish. You know, we'll take a look at SPY. Just see where it's opening. There's no reason to get bearish, but this gap down, you know, you figure SPY's opening up back near the 9. It's okay to be cautious. There's no reason to be, you know, bearish, but there's also, it's not the end of the world if you're not aggressive to go long. You know, look for that confirmation. If we just sweep lower here and break back under that 749 tomorrow and then fail at, you know, Friday's lows, that's not going to be a good sign at all, because that's going to be, you know, tried to break out, clearly couldn't. You know, and we still have weaker volume on this whole kind of sideways action, which could go both ways right now. You know, that's fantastic if you're thinking long and you get that pop to the upside, but it's also not that good if you're thinking, you know, okay, we just had 3 green days in a row and the volume couldn't get over, you know, any of the big red volume days. So it's still showing you sellers are in control. You know, they're trying to get away, but you really need more information, especially with this gap down. Like, that's just crazy on QQQ. Right back under the 9 and 21. So right there alone, just chill. Just chill. And we'll see. You know, look for your setups, but no reason to get aggressive. And that should tell you to size down already. But yeah, let's look at just these individuals really quick. So I go here and we just go boom on the 3 month. Down to the 1 month. Switch this to purple. And again, I'm just marking up the highs, lows, opens, and closes. And I'm not marking up the bar to the right, because that's the one that's being made. And then I'm going down to the weekly because it's near highs. We need information. Maybe not that much information. That's okay. Okay, now we go from there. We have levels above, and ideally I'd like that monthly tag. If you're telling me we can backtest the monthly, it's worth a lighter size to see if it wants to creep higher, just because you have, again, you can think upside, yes, but I'm thinking what's protecting me lower. You know, for example, where do I know this is invalidated? If I take the 85.28 bounce here, sorry, whatever it is, 85.72. If I take the 85.72 bounce or break, I now have monthly 85.72 that it would need to fail at. I now have 9 MA and 21 MA that this would need to fail at for me to, you know, for me to really be invalidated and for my trade to not work. So that's my frame of mind, because there's a lot of levels above and I can still play level to level. That's fine. But, you know, where do I know that I'm wrong? And then it allows me to size for that, you know, because if I enter 30 cents away from my level and my stop is my level and I know it's a day trade, you know, you risk to that. Or if I know it's a swing, you know it can break your level, you size to that. Just little stuff like that. But AMBQ, I'm gonna look for that 85, that 85.72 back test. We'll keep an eye on it. Or break. I'd prefer the back test. Avoids fake outs a little more. This setup is phenomenal. Wow. Simo. Okay. I don't need all these levels. I'm just gonna mark up these. Let's go down to the weekly. Let's get as much info as we can. I don't need these weeklies down here. That's not what I'm trading with right now. Mark all these up. And I'll mark this one up as well, just because that's the one. This is going to be a new weekly candle. I really like this. I mean, tight base, a lot of wicks above, but again, you get that hold over 326, and this starts creeping over Friday's highs. It just starts peeking out of this structure, and it wants to go higher. The volume was shit, but the volume was also shit across the whole market. So I'm not worried about it, but it'll lower my risk. But man, this looks like it wants higher. Great hold off previous pivot. I mean, yeah, if this can just creep over that 326, I really like this. Really like this. Simo. Okay. AMD. AMD I should have marked up. Yeah. I mean, AMD just doesn't want to go down. It's not really like it's just extremely noticeable. Does not want to go down. It's sitting right near highs. My clearest. Where's this opening up? It's actually opening up back at that weekly. It's almost not a bad shot just because you have 10 points. You have 12 points. If it does bounce off this weekly, you have 12 points until resistance. But again, through that, if you miss it, through that 563, should get at least 10 points, but it could ideally run to 583, 585 at all-time highs. You have nothing in between besides that weekly. That's not even a weekly, that's a daily. So it's really just, again, nothing. There's no hard stops in between. So AMD possibly off 546 if you want to try the bounce. The 9MA is still going to be there, but if you really want to, I guess, be safer, if you get that base under 563, you should get a decent trade under that. What are you doing, Athena? Sorry, my dog just walked in. All right. I don't know how this one trades, but wow, the 3-month candles on some of these are just fucking crazy. Okay. Okay. I'll mark that up too. Okay. This one's it's a little congested, even though I marked up all the weeklies. Like over the quarterly, ideally, can go to this quarterly. These weeklies are going to be a lot thinner than the monthlies and quarterlies, but you still need to know they're there. In terms of like scaling out, if you're up 30, 35% and it's approaching a weekly, it's like, why not? Take something off the table, things like that, in case it stops. Yeah, this isn't one that I'd size heavy, I don't think, or size big at all. But over 47, you have a shot. Again, information-wise, reclaims the quarterly, bounces off the 9, bounces off the 21. You have a couple forms of support underneath. So this one's like a meh, but CEVA, it's there. Leave that one. I'm gonna leave that one too. It just doesn't move a lot. Laser we already have. Rally's just got a good trend here. I know it's a good look at that EPS. It's a really good company. Okay, let's actually mark up all these. And let's start from the left, just so I don't get too congested on what I don't need to mark up. No need down there. Just keep moving to the left. Just keep moving to the left. Just keep moving to the left. All right. Let's get a monthly in here. Yeah, let's fill in these gaps where it matters. That's okay. Okay. Tag that one too. A lot of levels, but it's okay. That's what I want to see though. Extremely hard quarterly. And now all you need to see is here. Can this just give you a little bit more of a right, a right side, tighter right side underneath that quarterly? Love that break though. Low volume on this whole uptrend. Give something lower right here, and then that quarterly break should be really good. What's that level above? Is that 25? No, that is 26. Ideally, it's looking like it would get here. 26. This one might need a week or two. Ideally, it needs a week or two. The longer this takes, not even the longer, just a week or two of candles right here, just a little base, and then make that cup. Make that cup. Sorry, make that handle. Complete it. But we'll see. Okay. Really needs time, but it's there. All right. WDC. WDC was off the 50. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I just really. Damn. Where the fuck are they opening? Oh, these things are dumping. Interesting. Extremely interesting. All right, so those MU swings should be fun. Let's actually just mark this up real quick. What's lower here? So now we got. Oops. Okay. Just so we got more info in case MU breaks lower. Yeah, under that 938 would not be fun. You figure 860, 864 is like imminent after that, in my opinion. We'll see though. That could be a good trade in my opinion, especially if it gets 864. All right, let's get back on track. WDC. So WDC is just kind of invalidated though. That's what I was looking at. Like you figure it's gonna be opening up right at that monthly. And gap fill. Interesting. And you know what? WDC gets 553. I'm gonna call it. Yeah, I'll try it for sure. You're gonna have a retest of the 50. You still have decreasing volume. I'm gonna touch up on why we're gapping down this much, but again, hard monthly off the 50. It's worth a shot, and you figure what? Give yourself 3 points underneath, 4 points, whatever. Know your risk. That's it. Just know your risk. But worth a shot off the monthly for sure. A net. That's not even. I mean, show me a better chart with earnings like this. This is fucking nuts. It's just like some stuff doesn't need to get clearer than this. So again, I'm aggressively selling MU premium, and hopefully this fucking thing doesn't leave the station, because if it starts getting over 200, I'm not gonna find it as attractive in terms of just a new position in my account. So yeah, let's see if MU can fucking rip this week, get me out. And then I'm gonna start selling premium on a net, because if I can get filled, then again, anywhere under 200, I'll like it. I think this is a phenomenal company, at least for the next couple of years. And memories, I think it's great, but what more do I need, type of thing. So it's okay to take my gains, move it to the Roth and chill. Lower risk. But yeah, a net, I don't really see a trade. If it gets off 179 again and holds, sure. You can use these weeklies for reference if you do want to trade it again. It's probably going to be, yeah, there you go, 83. So if it gives you the 179 tag, sure, maybe, but it kind of looks a little weaker. Ideally, over that 187 though, should go back to 190. Not a great day trade, but more just I'm looking at this one for long term. So again, if you have cash sitting, You know, you don't want to add more to your ASTS if you have already or whatever. If you want to diversify, this is something I'd be looking to add right now. You know, I've had this in my Roth for, geez, probably like 4 years now. But you know, it's my Roth. I can't put more than, you know, a couple thousand on it, whatever, a couple hundred every year. So it's not like it's a unbelievably big position, but you know, it's done well, and I think it's still going to do well. So that's the whole point around it. You know, not a lot of stocks have a really sustainable EPS growth like that that almost doesn't look cyclical, which this kind of you know, steers away from in terms of, you know, what it does. But just something I've been thinking of a lot. So, and that, I know it's there for me, and it could be there for you too if you want it. It's a great ad right now. Corsair, this is what I was talking about. So let's just look. Let's just do something like this. Well, you know what? I'll start from the left so that I don't confuse anybody here. You know, ideally, like companies like this, starting all the way from the left, you know, if the company's changed fundamentally, it's almost hard to go off some past information. You figure a lot of companies change fundamentally over time, but they don't. Like Apple, for example, they've changed, yes. The picture's always been the same. They haven't fundamentally completely changed their company. Or like a Monster Energy, literally completely changed their company. Um, you know, just I'm kind of rambling, but anyways. So again, just looking at pure quarterlies, nice range here. It's not as crazy as I thought. But over 983 can get 1031, but over that 1031 you could get a nice dollar pop. And that's just like, it's more about what's possible. You know, it's not even that, oh, that's not gonna. It's just what's possible, and then you size for what you're willing to lose. And if you just keep thinking in that frame of mind, you're gonna get really good at, you know, not only the trades that you pick out, but you're gonna get really good at sizing because you're gonna understand, you know, what trades need what sizing, what setups what need what sizing, what worked last time, what didn't, things like that. But Corsair is not bad. It's not an amazing setup. It's not bad. This one looks really good. Really good. Okay. Let's do. Sorry, just writing it down. I haven't looked at this one a lot in general, so just writing it down. So we could look at it more. Okay, 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 okay. Okay. So I like this trade because, you know, you start, again, levels give you a really good chance of where, you know, where is your edge. So for example, if you're trading this stock when it's in here, okay, you deserve to lose some money or get chopped up. But if you're waiting and you're waiting for these gaps, you know, if you waited, and you traded this breakout, okay, that's what's possible. Like it's just a little, it's more understandable. Yeah, this structure is just really good. I'm really looking at this level. If you get that close over 121.80, looks really good. You figure it tried to base over this last time and failed. Failed aggressively at 118. That's one thing to look at. If you're telling me this tests, you know, it looks like it's going to test pre-market. If this tests 118 and holds immediately, might be a little different than these last two times. Smacked off 118, tried to break, smacked off 118. Tried to break, swept higher. Okay. Tried to backtest again after going higher, failed. Tried to backtest again after going slightly higher. If it holds, that's just a tighter structure. It's not a higher high, it's not amazing, but it's a higher low. So you get some sort of setup. So off 118 isn't terrible. A close over 121 kind of tells me this thing is ready though. So you could wait for that if you want to be more conservative. But yeah, NSIT's got two types of entries. Yeah, this is one you could go lighter off the 118 bounce. If you get a really good fill, awesome. Then you can add if you love it through 122. It's just tons of ways to play it. Tons of ways. Anyways, let's just recap what we're looking at real quick, and I'm going to add them to this. So setups, let's add. So we have Simo, AMBQ, and I'm going to send all of these with the charts on the weekly watch list. We have AMD, we have CEVA, CEVA, we have Rally, we have WDC, we have ANET, we have NSIT, and we have, let's do this, 10300, we have Laser, Frog, and QURE. Okay. Now I just do this quickly. I know it's a little boring. We got now like just this. I'm just looking for what's relatively strong. What's got a look to it? Fucking nothing does. VST, I'm just waiting for 168. Wow, a lot of broken charts. You know, a lot of broken charts. Jeez, the gap down on some of these is... Oh, it's not bad. It just always shows up down here. I'm going to add this to the watch list. No trade setup, but I'm going to add it to the watch list. Absolutely. RTX not bad. I don't like how it gave up all of that. I'm not going to force anything. It's going to be really good. SpaceX dumpy. PL, these are all starting to fail at key support areas, but that's okay. They have no... NVIDIA is still unbelievably strong. NVIDIA and GEV get added to the watch list. NVIDIA off 208 is honestly a great trade. Just clear strength. You can't avoid it. Let's see if you get that 208 interaction. All right, so NVIDIA GEV. No, not interested. Not interested. Google's not bad. It's making a base here. Just not interested. Okay, we're good. Let me add Google and GEV here. Okay. Google, GEV, done. All right, I am gonna send setups for these in the weekly watch list, but you know, if you watch the whole video, you're a fucking G. If you watch the last 15 minutes, you're smart. Like, nah, look at these setups, see what you like, see what you don't like. Nothing's honestly extraordinary though. Understand that. You know, you have decent earnings this week. You have some economic events Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but nothing is extraordinary. The conditions are not extraordinary yet. You know, so just size that, understand that. But yeah, let's have a good week. Enjoy the rest of your night.